Children will do what they see, not what they hear. So if you're leading by example, they're going to copy you.
Hello and welcome back to the Kelly Lumber podcast. I'm your host, business mentor, personal brand and style expert, who's on a personal mission, yes, you guessed it, to inspire a minimum of 5 people daily to take action, do something different, and just show up as the best person that they aspire to be. Because let's face it, we're all here to learn, and each day we can just get that little bit better. Thank you to all of you that are sending messages through our Instagram or leaving reviews to say that you've been inspired by something that you've heard on a podcast. Keep them coming, because this is why I do it. I just love it. It really makes my day and the guest day knowing that they've inspired someone else. Drop a review on Apple Podcasts if you haven't already, or make sure you're following on Spotify, and come and say hi if you haven't on Instagram. I'd love to meet you. In this episode, you're going to meet Leanne Carling. Now, she's a friend of a friend of a family friend. Like, that's how it rolls in Scotland. And I got introduced to her through this friend of a friend of a family friend. And she's just recently moved to Dubai. Leanne's business, well, she's basically been this driving force behind more than 1,000 residential property portfolio acquisitions with the transactional value of more than £200 million. And she's only 40. In this episode, she shares her experience of growing the Carling Property Group with her husband into the largest privately owned residential landlords in Scotland. Now, also as Merger and Acquisitions Director at United Capital, Leanne now also identifies and manages and negotiates mergers and acquisition activities to its completion. So she's got this real ability to be able to source opportunities, whether it's property or, business acquisitions, and really construct deals that work for buyer and seller. So she is so dedicated. You're going to hear this in this episode, really focused. And we talk about how too many people really think situations, and when they're making buying decisions, or even not just buying decisions, but maybe looking to start a business or transition to move somewhere else, for example. And she also shares what it's like when you work with your husband. Also, how involved the children are making big life decisions. And she shares some examples of what she does with the kids and when they're together as a family, how it all works out for them. Leanne really believes that your environment is everything. So if you're not happy, then look around and see how you can make changes, and so much more. So let's dive right into this episode. Hi, Leanne. Welcome to the show. It's so good to have this opportunity to speak on a business capacity rather than just friends and a quick catch up on WhatsApp.
Thank you very much for having me.
Leanne and I met, well, we actually met quite recently, but we've known each other for a couple of years, and that's through family friends. Without, I can't think going through it, my stepmom knows your neighbour or something. It's just what happens. And then when you get this message, I'm moving to Dubai, let's connect. So that was kind of a little bit of a backstory as to how we know each other. But over the past sort of 4 or 5 months, well, not even 8 months now since you've kind of moved. When did you come? January to Dubai?
No, we came the 1st of April.
1st of April. You were on holiday at New Year.
And in January,
that's it. But and then over the past sort of 8 months, I've got to know your story, everything that you're working on, why you moved and left Scotland to come to Dubai. So I feel like there's so much that we can talk about in the next 30 minutes. But I guess let's hand it over to you. Maybe share with our audience a little bit about you, what it is that you do, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, no problem. Well, thanks again for having me. Where do I start? So I left school basically, and I started working for a distribution company. And I think that set my path of the strong work ethic, working hard, working long hours, working dates that people usually have off. So Boxing Day, Christmas Eve, so it really paved the way for the strong, I don't really mind working hard. I want to get things done. I really love solving problems, looking for solutions, ways to make best practice. And save the hassle that you maybe went through happening again. So that's where I started, and then that's where I met my husband, Graeme. So I'm in business with my husband, Graeme. We've worked with each other since we met. We worked in distribution, but because we worked together and we had very, very good jobs, he ended up being my boss. And we didn't really want people to, I was good at my job, and, if I was getting bonuses and things, I didn't really want it to be people think, no, it's because you're, are going out with the boss, basically, because I was good at my job.
Yeah.
We had a bigger why, we always felt we were not missing out on something, but there was better things. We didn't want to be working for someone else. Someone was dictating your time and what you done with that time. So Graeme had been studying the property market, and he was desperate to get involved in building a portfolio. He had read and seen the Rich Dad Poor Dad book on Oprah Winfrey. He'd read the book because he'd seen it on Oprah Winfrey.
I love it that he was sitting watching Oprah.
Watching Oprah, I know, I don't know why. I know I've never asked him that, actually, I should. So that's where he'd seen it.
When you were really my boss, you were actually watching Oprah.
By the way, I believe that because he used to shut his blinds in his office, and I think he was watching Oprah.
It's all coming out now. Because am I not right in thinking that when you, we'll get back into it, but no one knew you were dating for ages? Did you not kind of say you were getting married, and everyone was like, "Oh wow, was that not how it kind of came about?"
Yeah, so we had been out with each other for ages. He'd asked me to go out with him for about 6 months, and I wouldn't do it. And purely because I didn't really want the work. I'm quite personal, and I didn't want everybody that I work with knowing my business. And so anyway, long story short, we eventually, I said, if we go out on a date, will you leave me alone? But we had the best night, the best laugh, the best time. We've got so much in common. And then it all started from there. So we were going out on dates, and then it was getting really serious, but we weren't telling anyone. So and then eventually, it got really, really serious. I fell pregnant with my son, and we thought we need to start telling people, how did that happen? So, and again, we were still working away really, really good at our jobs, but studying the property market. So our dream was to be financially free and build this property portfolio to give us the financial freedom that we wanted to live our lives to the best way that we could. Mm-hmm. And we done that. And we thought the property portfolio was our vehicle to become financially free. So we done that. We started buying properties. We bought well to start with. We negotiated good deals. And then we used refinancing to raise capital to reinvest. And that was all we done. We started with no money of our own.
So maybe explain that as sort of first step, because that's often the hardest one. So you're like, did you go through papers? Because, how many years ago was this now you bought your?
This was back in 2007.
Okay. So, you looking online, you're like, I think this could be a good one. And then how did you put a deposit down? Did you get a mortgage? Like, how did it work?
Yeah, well, let me back up because this is quite a good point to we had no money, right? I mean, good paying jobs. We had a baby on the way. So we did this huge impending event, and we had just bought quite an expensive house, and we both quit our jobs to go and follow our dream because we thought if we're doing this on the side, we're never going to make it. So we both quit our good, high-paying jobs on the same day, 30th of September 2007. Walked out our jobs, brand new house, baby on the way in November. And we thought, right, we really need to make this work. We've got 6 months money to live off, mm-hmm. or we'll need to go back to full-time employment. So your question, Kelly, how did we find the first deal? So we were canvassing. So I was going about putting letters through doors. I was speaking to agents. We were buying, there was I think it was Property Finders was a website, and you bought information. So it would be deals for sale, and if you like the short brief, you would pay for further information, and then you would convert the deal that way. So we done loads of things. We never ever get any deals through agents, may I say. It was all through the internet, advertising in papers, advertising online, and putting leaflets through doors, so if there was properties for sale, putting them through, saying we're buying, come to us. And then, as I say, we always bought well. I'm a big believer, and that was part of my background in distribution and logistics, was buying. You can make more money when you buy than selling. And as I say, so we borrowed, because we had no money of our own, so we borrowed from the bank, borrowed deposits, and then we would refinance, and any money we'd made, we would reinvest that. And that was just we bought our first property we left our jobs in September 2007, and we bought our first property in March 2008. Our money was running low and we were panicking, like, we can't go back to work. We're really, we hadn't done any deals by that point, but we were really enjoying the process and what we were doing, meeting people, analysing deals. And then we eventually completed in our first deal, and that bought us another 6 months. So the money that we got out, we reinvested some, and then we used some to live off until we got our next deal.
And you had a wee 5-month-old coming along the way. So just because we could talk about this forever and all the properties along the way. So that was what you started with. Where are you now then?
Where are we now? So we're the biggest landlords in Scotland. We have a huge portfolio throughout Scotland of residential properties and student accommodation. And then a couple of years ago, we started United Capital, which is an investment group that we are buying building services companies. So renewables. So we're big into renewables, energy efficient ways for building companies, gas, electric, joiners, everything to do with the building services, EPCs, EICRs. So we saw a gap in the market, and we actually bought a company called McGill, based in Dundee, out of administration in February 2 years ago. And we just, quickly turned that around. And we have since done another 3 acquisitions, all building services companies throughout the UK. And just now, the pipeline that I'm looking at is over £790 million worth of potential acquisitions in the building services area. So it's absolutely hectic, but we absolutely love what we're doing. And just seeing the companies grow as part of that group with the support that we provide as part of the group, the HR, the marketing, the legal, and the operations, sharing good practice between the companies and being able to tender for bigger public contracts throughout the UK. So it's all go.
Love it. And the fact that it's not been in, like, we're not talking 50 years, we're talking 2007, you bought your first property. So it's not that long to have, become the biggest landlords of private, residential properties, to now the acquisitions of, the service-based companies. Which are you enjoying more? I mean, is your heart still always in the kind of resident? Are you liking the big one, the big piece, the big acquisition?
I absolutely love the big piece, and I love the big numbers. And I often hear start small, right? And if I could say to people now, don't just go for it, go big or go home. It's so much easier. It's not easier. It's the same process that you need to do for that one small deal as you need to do for the big deal. So stick to the big numbers.
Well, then that's quite good to start on then, because I think people would think, who are maybe listening are like, well, I would love to build a property portfolio. I would love to be part of big numbers, but it's just so overwhelming, and of course you can't do it overnight. So what would you say to someone who's listening now, who's like, do you know what? I really want to start investing into something else other than, say, stocks and shares, or maybe if you're in Dubai, brunches or shoes or bags or whatever it is. What's your step? What's your suggestions?
Find good partners. We've always worked with good partners. We've always worked with a good team. We've always thought, the best of the best. So the best lawyer in the property industry, the best lawyer in the construction industry.
Okay.
Find the best find the people that are doing what you want to do. Okay, don't take advice from someone, if you want to be in property, don't take advice from someone who's buying shoes. Do you know what I mean? So the people that are doing what you want to do and are the best in that field, and that's what we've always done. We've always worked with great partners, and we are great partners to other people.
So we've got, first step, find good partners. Then what would you say next?
And then just go for it. Don't spreadsheet your deals to death. It'll either work or it doesn't work. So if the numbers stack up, the deal works. And if it does, I'm very strict with criteria. So I've got a criteria. So, for instance, so I'm looking at property businesses that turn over 50 million.
Okay.
Minimum 10 million up to 50 million.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't, it's not for me. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And there's certain criteria. So it's got to have an EBITDA of a certain level. It's got to, it's got to fit our model. It's got to fit our core services. So if someone comes to me and they say they manufacture something for the building industry, that's not for me because we don't manufacture, we provide the service.
Yeah, okay.
So you've got to be really strict with your criteria.
Okay. So we've got find good partners, go for the criteria. So that is, I guess, kind of criteria would be within your budget, ability to say no if it's not for you or it's not right.
Mm-hmm. And know your market. So if you're talking about the property business, then what market do you want to be in? So we've always been affordable housing. So we're not bottom end and we're not top end. So we know that we'll have safe, affordable accommodation, wind and watertight, lovely accommodation that people can make their home at good affordable rents that have a good return on investment. Mm-hmm. If you're buying properties that are absolutely luxurious and the return on investment isn't there, you don't want to get in that. Well, that might be your market, but that's not mine. So know your market.
Yeah.
If there's a good return on, you need to know your criteria and stick to it. And don't get your nose pulled by people offering different things.
And which is very easy to. Now, you've invested, so maybe moving a little bit from the big deals to sort of the I guess the affordable housing where you kind of started. You've got a lot in Dundee, is that right?
Yeah, throughout Tayside and Angus.
Okay, so that whole area. And is that because one location, because you knew it fitted your criteria, or is it that it's just quite up and coming? Can I say that about Tayside?
Tayside is buzzing. I've lived there for 15 years and I have, noticed a huge improvement. And, it really is, it's becoming, it's won loads of awards for the best place to visit the weekend. And, it's got the V&A. It's, they've done so much to the waterfront.
Oh, absolutely.
So they are attracting people. It's a great investment town, for residential.
Well, students as well, isn't it?
Loads for students as well. You've got 2 universities, the college, the dance college. There's loads happening. You've got the port. There's loads happening down there. So no, great place to invest, Dundee. But why we initially started was, again, I'm saying know your criteria, know your business. I wanted somewhere an hour away from where I could drive. So that, because when you're starting out, I wanted to touch and feel, my investment. As you get bigger, if the numbers work for you, you don't really need to touch and feel it.
Well, you can get other people. You can get other people to touch and feel it for you.
Yes, but it just so happened that we the opportunities were there, and they're fantastic opportunities, and I still love that part of the business.
Yeah. Oh, now you've made the decision to leave Tayside and Angus and move to Dubai. So What prompted that?
Well, we spoke about, environment stronger than will, and I'm a big believer of that. Your environment can kill you, and that's not why we leave Dubai. Why not Dubai? Dubai is an outstanding place. It's an international hub where you can do business. It's where East meets West. The energy here is just unbelievable.
I say that all the time. I really do love this vibe that it's like you can't touch it. You just have to be here to.
Honestly, you feel it. Yeah, and everybody they've got the positive mentality that they can do business, they want to do business. It's just a great. It's an outstanding vibe. And we've been coming here a long time. We actually came here on honeymoon, and we've noticed that here 13 years ago. So we've noticed huge changes here, but the energy's always been a great thing for here. And the more that we've done, our homework on businesses and opportunities over here, it's absolutely buzzing. The people.
A no-brainer. I think if you're in the property, and more so now, I think the services sectors of companies here is a massive platform for you.
Yeah.
But Dubai wasn't the only place on your list. Am I right? That you sat with, because you've now got 2 children, teenagers, a girl and a boy. And you sat, did you not? Tell me the story about Dubai and Spain.
Yeah, we had, because we do business in Spain also. We've got a house in Spain, a house in Scotland, and a house here now. And, we want to do business where we have bases, and we will do business. We've got loads of partners throughout in Spain, partners here and partners in the UK. But our children are at an age that we play cash flow with them, and we want them to get involved in the financial education that they won't get at school, teaching them about business, about real life. So when we were looking to move, we were looking at Spain, we were looking at, Malta, Isle of Man, Jersey. There was loads of different places on our list. And so we had the kids in the meeting room, and we've got one of these Microsoft hubs. And we put the map on the hub, and we were saying, right, these are the places that we're looking to move to. And we were telling them a bit about the countries, etc. And then they were to circle the 2 countries that they would like to live. And then they were to present to us, my husband and I, why they wanted to live there. So it was a great process. And we do that a lot with the kids, actually. We get them involved. Your children will do what they see, not what they hear. So, if we're, I don't watch TV, but I'll put on a YouTube clip of someone that inspires me, so if it's Dan Pena or, Robert Kiyosaki or, someone or something I want to learn. So, if I want to learn about Bitcoin, or if I want to learn about other industries, I'll put on YouTube videos to try and learn. And my children see that. So they now do that, or they ask questions. What's that, Mum? What are you learning? What are you looking at now? And it's great. Their minds are just, my son's 13. And since we arrived in Dubai, he's been looking on, is it Smergers, at businesses. And what about this, Mum? And what about that? And is this a business for us? And, he's absolutely brilliant. My daughter would do it.
What was it he said to you about 16 or something? What was it he'd said if he earns... What was it he'd said about, can I leave school?
Can he leave school if he's a millionaire when he's 16? And I went, of course you can. And he'll buy me diamond earrings.
That's so sweet. So you did the map, and they came back, presented, and was Dubai on both their lists?
Dubai was on both. My daughter preferred the Isle of Man because she has a horse, and it was easier to get the horse to the Isle of Man. That was her preference, but Dubai was our second choice. So
good. I want to touch on a little bit. So we've got the whole family thing in here. So we've got, how involved the kids are in sort of what it is that you do. Just a note on that, because you'd said it and maybe people didn't catch up. So Cash Flow, for those that are listening that have got kids, is a game by Robert Kiyosaki, isn't it?
So Robert Kiyosaki wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad to sell the Cash Flow board game a way back. And God, I don't know, was it 19?
Oh, I thought that came after.
Oh, no, it was it designed the game, and then they couldn't sell the game, so they wrote the book to sell the game.
And then the book's more famous than the game. Oh, but the game is great because I've seen the game and I've known it's been great for kids. But okay, so with Christmas coming up, I think that could be great for parents to educate.
They have a kids game, but the adult game's better.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
So I would go for the adult game, but the kid, to start with, they were, oh, what's this? But you can see their minds thinking, and they're getting older now, and the penny's starting to drop. But especially with my son, I mean, as I say, every night he's like, Dad, what about this business? Or he's asking questions about podcasts he's listening to. So it's all about, as I say, children will do what they see, not what they hear. So if you're leading by example, they're going to copy you.
That's a great quote. Really, really good quote. That should be something for your social media, by the way. Leanne and I are working on her personal brand, because for those that are listening, there's so much that you and Graeme have done, yet you don't tell anyone about it. And you've got this fountain of knowledge and property and acquisitions that you can share. And we're working together on a strategy to create that, which I'm really excited about. I wanted to touch a little bit on that relationship of working with your husband. Because some people think that would be a nightmare to do, and you've made it work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what are some of your secrets? Tell us.
Well, we never go to bed on an argument, never,
Okay.
And I don't know who says sorry first, because we're not very good at saying sorry, but we get there. But we're a couple that we do what we say and we hold each other accountable. And, my husband hates it when I'll say, what are you, the nearly man? You nearly done that, and he's like, oh, so it pushes him to actually do what he says he's done. And, we support each other. So if there's something that I really want to do, he's supportive of that and vice versa. And I think, it does get fraught and, tensions are high because we're busy and we're very, very passionate about what we do. But I think what we do is very simple. We know our own lanes. So we know what we're good at. So he stays in his lane and does what he's good at. And I stay in my lane and do what I'm good at. And we complement each other.
What's his lanes and what's your lanes?
Basically, I'll go and look at deals and I'll negotiate deals. And then once I've got the deal negotiated and we've agreed the deal, I then pass it to him, and then he goes and gets the finance, does all the legals and sees that through to completion. And then he'll make sure the operations are in place at the end to make sure that the companies continue to run. So my core goal is to go and get the deals, go and find the next acquisition. And then once I've done my job, it gets passed to Graeme.
What's one quality that you admire about him? And I'll ask you, what do you think's one he admires about you?
I admire it. That he's got to get up and go and try anything, he'll just go, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but he gives it a shot, he doesn't think about it, he just does it. And I like that, I love the drive that he's got and the ambition, he's a very, very clever guy, and his vision that he's got to see things and opportunities, I just love that about him.
What do you think he would say about you? You can ask him later. He'll be like, I said this on Kelly's podcast, but is that true? So what do you think he would say about you?
Probably similar. Like once I've been handed a project, I just go and, I put 100% heart and soul into it and make sure that it happens.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
We should do an add-on at the end that this is actually what Graeme said. One of the other things, and I guess we'll kind of wrap up on this, I'm so grateful that you've managed to spend so much time and share your knowledge, is, you've got this goal-getting attitude that it's like nothing kind of stands in your way. You don't overthink things, because that's a big issue, especially when people are starting a business. They're like, whether that's in property or anything, they're like, oh, well, when I've got this and when this is right and when I get this much money in the bank and when I do this, and then before they know it, 2 years has passed. So you don't overthink things. But I think from what we've talked about, another angle is you invest in yourself. Both you and Graeme have done a huge amount of personal development, and like, you go back on that, find good partners, work with the best, but, you've gone and done training with top people. Maybe just elaborate a little bit more on that.
We've been training with the best since 2008 or 2007, 2008. So we spent a lot of our money investing, going to the States to train directly with Robert and Kim Kiyosaki. We have went to Dan Peña's Castle seminar.
He's the one is he not the one that really shouts at you and gives you a really hard time, and then
he's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, but that's true. He does that, yeah, like makes you cry and stuff. And then
in fact, there's a 50% divorce rate for couples that actually go to his seminar. So that was a bit, when I heard that, I thought, do we really want to go here? And I thought, hell yeah, I want to be one of these stats that don't. So,
I love it.
we've always invested in ourselves. As I say, 3 times per year, up until maybe about 2016, traveling across to the States, with the Rich Dad team and their advisors, not just Robert and Kim. And then again, various other things. But what we do differently is what we learn, we put into practice. We're not paralysed by analysis, like we don't spreadsheet it. We're not reckless, we use, great advisors, so if we've got a deal, we go to the good advisors, but we don't get stuck in analysing the deals. It'll either works or it doesn't work. But totally invest in yourself, invest in your health, getting out every day and doing your exercise and, just living a good life, mentally and healthy.
Yeah. So one of the things we're working on, you're joining us on the Rack Half Marathon, aren't you?
Yes.
For those that haven't been following my Instagram, I posted just recently that I did something a little bit stupid. I agreed after a few glasses of rosé that I would run this half marathon, and I've roped you in and a few of my other friends into actually going ahead with this. So is there anything that you want to share with us to kind of wrap up or share with the audience, and then tell everyone how they can find you?
Okay. Like that. If don't, people say start small. Don't start small. Go and go and study what you want to do and get involved. But don't kill it by overstudying. Know your market, know what you want to get involved in, and then look for good partners and get involved in that. Speak to people that are doing what you want to do, that are leading by example. Take advice ask yourself the question, are they qualified to give me the advice? Are they doing what I want to do? There's so many people out there giving advice that aren't qualified to give you the advice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it.
Well, I'm so happy when you say you work with the best and we're working together on your personal brand that you've chosen me to work with. So that makes me so happy. And I know that we're going to be speaking about the next steps and property as well. So with that, where can people find you?
Okay.
You've got a new website coming soon, haven't you?
Yes, I have. So that's leannecarling.com. It can also be found on LinkedIn, Instagram and Twitter if you just search Leanne Carling. We also have the carlinggroup.co.uk and unitedcapital.co.uk. So there's quite a few handles there that you can
find it and say hi. And both you and Graeme are you're pretty consistent on LinkedIn. That's your primary platform. And then we're just getting into Instagram for you, but that's coming. That is coming. Well, thank you so much for your time, Leanne. Love that. Really appreciated, all your, words of wisdoms and experiences and just your honesty. Because I think, so many people, you've just been really real about how the journey has kind of gone. And I know we could have talked on and on and on about it, but thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here and listening to this episode today. Were you inspired? What was your one takeaway that you can put into action? Head over to Instagram, Kelly Lumberg Official. I love to hang out there, so drop me a DM, tell me the best part, or even better, share it with a friend and inspire them too. We are growing weekly and it's all down to you. Thank you so much. Reviewer of the week left this message. Annie, highly recommended listen. Great podcast. Personally, I really resonated with the last one on how to make the best of your relationships personally and professionally. Please leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. It really does make a massive difference. Be inspired and keep following your dreams.